means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low of 30, Wednesday cloudy with a high near 47, and Thursday cloudy with a high around 48.
At Warner Stellian, we know our customers are the only reason we get to continue our legacy as Minnesota's appliance specialists. Now through May 3rd, find a $50 thank you coupon at warnerstellian.com. You won't find these exclusive appliance discounts anywhere else.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Cody Cup, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Katagita, all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot, along with my co-host, Wendy Pilot. We have Gina Peltier doing the news, and we're going to have Misko on today. And I'm just thrown off a little bit today. I don't know what it is, Wendy, but as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Native Roots Trading Post, located at 700 Nicollet Mall in Minneapolis. We're on the first floor of the Dayton's building. Come on down. We support Native American artists.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's a little off. I had the same shirt that I had on yesterday.
I do that all the time. I don't care. I wear it.
Well, it's a Resist shirt, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
Right? No?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So, hey, and then I did set up the sending it out to all our fun places and YouTube and Facebook land. So it's
just a little today.
just a tad. But hey, we have Gina, and we're really happy to have Gina on here to hold the shift down. She's prepared some news that you don't hear anywhere else on Turtle Island. So we're excited to have Gina Peltier on. Welcome, Gina.
Hey, bonjour, everyone. Gina Peltier, Indigenakash, Kadewa, Makwa, and Dudum, Anishinaabe, and Dunjumba, Mikanagwaji, and Iniwa. You guys, Gina Peltier here. I am Black Bear Clan, and I'm Anishinaabe from the Turtle Mountain Pemda Band of Chippewa. And, you know, I do got to bring this up, you guys. There is going to be a lunar eclipse April 30th, which means it could be affecting some signs, you know, if you're Aquarius or if you're Taurus, and then there's two other signs. So with that coming in the area, some people can be experiencing some different, you know, side effects from that does happen. And then also we had some solar flares happen a couple days ago, and that can always affect people's minds and bodies and awareness, and also their emotions. So keep aware of that, everyone, and look out for that. April 29th, 30th, and May 1st, Camp McGeezy will be hosting a violence prevention training with Atlas Defense, serving students from 16 to 25 years of age. The curriculum is designed to equip community-focused advocates with the introductory level knowledge, skills, and attitude necessary to contribute to collective safety and security culture. Topics and certifications include small group de-escalation tactics, Narcan training, radio and long gun familiarization, and a Minnesota permit to carry certifications. There is no cost to sign up. Contact 612-492-1297 for any questions and to sign up. The phone number again is 612-492-1297 for any questions or to sign up for this great training, violence prevention training that Camp McGeezy is hosting. And thank you so much, Camp McGeezy, for hosting events like this and continuing the fight to stop the genocide against the Indigenous people. And then tomorrow, we do have a Flood the Courts, Drop the Charges in-person court hearing event tomorrow at 8 a.m. in Park Rapids, Minnesota. Water protectors will gather in front of the Hubbard County Courthouse in Park Rapids, Minnesota, starting at 8 a.m. for a rally. Then we will head inside to join the hero defendant in court while their case is being tried. On June 15th, 2021, nearly 30 people were arrested in Hubbard County for holding space in a ditch on the side of the road while supporting other water protectors who were allegedly locked down, trying to defend the water and trying to stop Enbridge's Line 3. So tomorrow, bring your signs, your friends, and other supporters, and hold the water protector defendants and all those impacted with awareness and sensitivity. No one is expected to lose sight of the violence wrought by courts. And together we hope to work alongside our community members to not let violence spread. May the force be with our water protectors. We need to stop the flow of the oil, stop Line 3, reject and stop Line 5. The charges need to be dropped against all water protectors. And, you can't live without water. And then in an article out of the Indian Country Today, in Augusta, Maine, Democratic Governor Janet Mills asked tribal chiefs and legislative leaders in a letter made public Monday to delay their effort to amend a 1980 land settlement deal that gave the state some governmental power over tribes. Critics of extending tribal sovereignty, including the governor, feared there could be unintended consequences and further litigation if the relationship between the state and tribes changed. Pressing for incremental change, Mills said the far-reaching proposal to expand Wabanaki sovereignty could be a setback in tribal relations with their administration instead of building on recent successes. Delaying the bill would allow the governor to avoid a high-profile veto on an issue that already has created an election year rift between Democratic lawmakers and the Democratic governor. Lawmakers earlier approved and the governor signed a bill that gives the Passamaquoddy tribe at Pleasant Point the right to regulate its own drinking water, partnering with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency instead of state regulators. But the wider sovereignty bill was still pending Monday, which was expected to be the final day of the legislative season. For the tribes, it has been a long, frustrating battle since they traded some rights to the state under the $81.5 million Maine Indian Land Claims Settlement Act of 1980, which was signed by President Jimmy Carter. Because of the settlement, tribes in Maine have less autonomy than tribes elsewhere across the country, and their reservations are treated like municipalities, subject to state law. Critics of extending tribal sovereignty including the governor, feared there could be an unintended consequences and further litigation if the relationship between the state and tribes changed. Among other things, the governor said she had concerns about removing 300,000 acres of land held in trust from state or local fish regulations governing everything from fish and game, land use, provisions, and logging practices to healthcare and law enforcement. The governor campaigned on improving tribal relations, which, this isn't the point with her rejecting this bill. She pointed out earlier successes, including the state replacing Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day, boosting tribes' ability to prosecute domestic violent crimes, and providing a posthumous pardon for a former Passamaquoddy tribal attorney. Quite honestly, just give us our land back. They had 500 years and all they've been doing is destroying it and poisoning it with unnecessary reasons, just like with the oil. We never needed oil. Henry Ford's first automobiles ran off of hemp fuel. We've always had the capability to use better alternative resources of fuel. There's no need to have all this destruction upon our land and our water and our people and all this oppression. So, just give us our land back. We can show you guys, we could probably take care of the land, the water, and everybody else just as well. What do you guys think about that?
I'm watching the, TV last night, and the Republicans have TV ads now showing President Biden and why he didn't reopen the Keystone Pipeline, and that's why all the prices are high here now. So, and you know what? There's people out there who are going to believe that.
Yeah, none of that oil going through Line 3 is going to us. It's going straight to China so they can make plastic out of it. So, I mean, we didn't need Line 3 in the United States at all.
Well, exactly to that. And then what Wendy was saying, it's like
the Keystone Pipeline we don't need either, and that doesn't have anything to do with the gas prices here right now in the United States.
It's all over the world that gas prices are high. So Biden's got superpowers. He's got superpowers that I want to know about.
Yeah.
Gina Pinagigi for the news is always very informative. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be back after this short break.
Stay with us.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Children's Minnesota raises up children's health by raising the standards, hands, voices, the bar, the stakes, the questions, and the curtain on raising kids' health to the highest priority. With the most pediatric experts in the upper Midwest, we're setting the stage because kids need us, all of us. So let's raise them up so every kid can reach their best health. Children's Minnesota, the kid experts.
Things may be getting better, but COVID is still around. Stay healthy and up to date on your COVID vaccinations and boosters. Right now, everyone 5 and older is eligible to get a vaccination, while everyone 12 and up is eligible for their booster shot. Plus, you're eligible for a second booster if you're over 50 or received an initial booster dose at least 4 months ago. Getting boosted increases your protection against severe disease from COVID-19. Find a vaccination site by calling 651-304-9986.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate
change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Hey, it's that time again where Nancy's feeling a little under the weather, and we asked our manager at the store, Misko, to stop in and speak her truth and talk about what else she does. It's always great to have you on, Misko. What are you doing tonight? I know you have stuff going on, and maybe you can get deep in why you're doing it and how it's good for the community. Welcome, Misko.
Bonjour, it's good to see ya. So today I'm down at the Indian Center, and every Tuesday we have a community drum and dance from 6:30 to 8. And so we just have some drums come, people from the community come and dance. And if you want to learn to dance, we have a male dance instructor, and then I'm the female dance instructor teaching Fancy Shawl and Jingle. So yeah.
That's right. So you get people coming in there and from all different, like me, you'd be working with me doing my round dance because I always look funny when I do the round dance, right? So you'd go, no, you need to do it like this, Mr. Pilot, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Misko, do people who are not Native American come to learn these dances? And if, can they?
Yeah, so I mean, just like powwows, we're open to people coming and learning. I've taught a few non-native youth how to dance because their friends were here and they wanted to dance. So I personally have no problem teaching. And if people want to come and watch dancing or just, be around the community, they're welcome to come. But yeah, I'm excited. Our dances we just started having in-person dances again. Because COVID happened and everything went online and virtual. So we do have our virtual program still running, but we also brought our in-person drum and dance back so that people can come. And it's been growing every week, so I'm excited. I'm happy.
That's great.
Yeah, that is great.
Yeah. Do more women partake in the dancing or more men, or is it pretty equal?
It's pretty equal because we do have a male and female dance instructor. Right now, there's mostly like families that come. So it's like, a parent and their children. The kids are always out there dancing. And then there's also some of my dancer friends that come and just practice their moves. You don't have to be really good. You could be a beginner and come, or you could just know how to dance and just come and use the space. Last week we had 3 drums come and sing. So the drums, if there's any young men out there or any guys who want to learn how to sing on the drum, you can ask the drum to hop on there and learn how to sing. But it's open to anyone, any level, any age. Yeah.
So when if I was to go there and ask to sing, would I need to give the lead drummer anything, or is that more during the powwows, or how does that work?
I'm not sure. That's probably a question for the drum, but I would just offer tobacco or something, for their teachings and their time. That's just kind of like a protocol thing. But yeah.
And I always go. I was taught always go clockwise around the drum too. If you do give handshakes or a gift.
Oh, to walk around the drum,
Yeah.
clockwise. Is that what you said?
Is that right,
Clockwise?
Misko?
Yes. I had to remember which way was clockwise.
The way the clock goes.
Well, they all have digital clocks now, Wendy.
Oh,
They
that's
don't know.
right. That's right.
I remember telling a student once, Misko, you get a kick out of this. They asked me what time it was at school, and I said it was a quarter after, I don't know, 1:15, and they said, no, really, what time is it? Because they'd never heard that before.
Quarter after 1. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
they would-
1:15, Misko.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
It's just a generational thing.
It is a generational thing.
I mean, I've seen too people put up phones for younger people to do, like, have you ever used like the phone that was on my desk at school? I'm sure you knew how to use that, but
a telephone you're talking about.
Yeah,
like a press button?
yeah, or even the dial one.
Dial one. Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
You didn't know we were going to talk about this, did you, Misko? She's like,
One thing leads to another.
right. So now let's ask a little bit about protocol too. So we can come down there. Anyone can come down there and learn how to sing and dance. And one of the things, like Wendy had a really good question too, is people learn. I know I had to learn, and I know Gina has learned over the years. What is good, what you can do and can't do at a powwow. So you're kind of getting them ready for a powwow, right?
Yeah, so for I can just go over a little bit powwow etiquette, and that's kind of how it would be at drum and dance too. So, I mean, it's kind of like basic respect, if you know what I mean. Like, you don't go up and touch someone's regalia, just like you wouldn't go up and start touching someone's bag or someone's belongings. And then there's also like the picture aspect of it. Sometimes I'll be walking around at a powwow and someone will shove a camera in my face, and I'm just kind of like, hey, like right now I'm relaxing, like if you wanted a picture with me or of me, just let me know or ask. But when we're dancing, usually dancers in the arena, we don't mind having our picture taken, but it's just like, when we're casually just walking, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little funny. And then also just to listen to the MC, the person who's speaking on the microphone, because they'll always tell you what's happening, what's going on, what to expect next. I don't know. I mean, power protocols, just you just kind of got to listen to what's going on around you and just
People should listen to the MC
Yeah.
and not have their private conversations going while
Right.
the MC is talking.
And there's people that say a prayer beforehand, so you should be quiet. But I want to ask Misko too before we get any further, Wendy,
Yeah.
if she knows what MC stands for.
master of ceremony.
Right on. All right. That's good. A plus. A plus. Good one. I was just making sure. But yeah, so a lot of times there's prayers too, and you need to be quiet. And I think one of the things too, it's kind of cool, Misko and Wendy and Gina, that we're talking to our audience, and a lot of white people, our white allies, listen to this show, and it's good to tell them because I know they want to come in a good way. So I think to be cautious if you go to a powwow, but also join in when they say join in, and right, Misko?
Yeah, like intertribals. And again, you have to listen to the MC and what they're announcing, but anyone's welcome to come out in an intertribal and participate in dancing or even just walking around the circle with everybody. But you know, when there's like exhibitions happening or if there's a like an honoring song happening or something, you kind of got to listen to see when you can participate and when to stand back and just, you know, observe. But yeah, powwows are pretty open to everybody. You know, we have vendors come, people sell their artwork, people sell food. And it's a great way to meet people and just to learn more about the culture. If you're native or non-native, it's a great way to, like, you know, connect to the community.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to bring up too that's very important, because over the years I've heard weird stuff like this, but it's always a sober situation, right, Misko? Always. And they escort people out that may even smell like alcohol.
And then another thing that's kind of new that we're seeing on flyers is, you know, they say no alcohol, no drugs, and also no predators. And so people who are known in the community for, you know, perpetrating things like that, oftentimes are what's happening nowadays is that they're being escorted out of the powwow just because, you know, some people might not feel safe if they're there. So it is really a safe space for everybody, you know.
Oh, that's a really good point, and I'm glad that's happening because too many times I think predators, I'll just say it, Wendy, predators think that they got a free pass and they can go anywhere because it's a community event. And so that's really a great point to bring up because there's no room for that at all. Gina, do you have a question or a statement at all for the cool Misko?
Yeah, so I don't know if you can help explain to our audience. I was a fancy shawl dancer before I was unfortunately assaulted by that Bumajuu police officer. But I was gifted a jingle dress, and I was told that it would be easier on my body to be a jingle dresser, and I found that to kind of be true, kind of not, depends on how far you take it. So, I mean, could you just indulge us a little bit on the differences of the dances between male and female and jingle and fancy and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so there's many different styles of dance for men and women. And so I don't really know the origin, or I don't say I don't really know, but I don't usually speak on the origins of the men dances. I usually speak on like fancy shawl and jingle. But yeah, so for jingle, I know that we got that dance in the 1920s, and it originates from the Ojibwe tribe. And there's a whole story behind it, but I don't think I'm going to go into it. But it's a healing dance. It comes from healing. And then the fancy shawl dance is a more evolved style of the women's traditional dance. And it's our most athletic style of dance. And it's the most contemporary because it came in the 1960s. And, you know, the outfits evolved to be very flashy. The moves are very, you know, you kick high. And, but yeah, so I don't know. Jingle, for me, old style jingle is more toned down. And then fancy is just kind of, you can really go, you're really free with your moves and your style of dance and what you wear.
Misko, I know you got to get going. Thank you so much for stopping in and schooling us and giving us some really valid information. Have a great day. Thanks for everything you do.
Thanks for having me.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back.
Stay with us.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
This is Santita Jackson, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I couldn't be more excited about starting our days together, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. Central on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota.
Seward Co-op is now offering convenient self-serve and prepackaged hot options and salad bars at both the Franklin and Friendship stores. Breakfast items available daily until 11 a.m. and brunch served all day every Sunday. Their weekly lunch and dinner menus highlight cuisines from around the world. They offer vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options daily. 95% of the ingredients used are organic from small-scale, local community food producers whenever possible. More at seward.coop.
Hi, I'm Scott Shamblot from Shamblot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
It's Patrick again for the carpet and air duct specialists at Zero Res. Did you know that as many as 1 in 5 Americans suffer from allergies caused by particles found inside your home? Indoor air quality is an issue all year long, but especially now that April showers will bring May flowers full of pollen and other irritants out of hibernation and into your home. If you or your family struggle with allergies or asthma and you want cleaner, healthier air, Zero Res can help. Now through April, Zero Res is offering 3 rooms starting at $139, plus get $75 off those air ducts too. Just ask for the AM 950 special. Call 952-ZERO-RES today or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com to schedule your appointment anytime. Zero Res is also offering $500 off select Mohawk flooring styles, free financing, and free cleaning 1 year after installation through Z Floors. Backward or forward spells the same, Zero Res.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low of 30, Wednesday cloudy with a high near 47, and Thursday cloudy with a high around 48. The Great Wall Restaurant in Edina provides an extensive Chinese menu with an emphasis on Szechuan and Peking cuisine. Some of the favorites include the sesame chicken, cream cheese wonton, and Szechuan duck with walnuts. Located just north of 50th and France on the Edina-Minneapolis border, dine in or order takeout at GreatWallEdina.com.
Bonjour, I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Wow, that was a lot of fun. And Beth Jo said such great info about powwows. Thanks from this ally.
Yeah.
And I think it's great information.
I would encourage our white allies and other people to come in and to see a powwow. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a really beautiful ceremony.
And I guess one of the things I want to say this in a nice way, and it probably won't sound that nice, but just remember your place.
Mm-hmm.
I guess when it comes to white allies showing up. And what does that mean? It's just be slow and respectful and
Right, and dance when you're supposed to, and make sure you're
Right.
not dancing when you're not supposed to. Like Misko said, to listen to the MC, because there are,
and she knew as master of ceremonies.
Yeah,
It's
that's great.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I always get emotional at powwows, just the thought that, we couldn't do this like before the 1970s even. And
Right, so
considering with what I do, it's just I'm fighting for this to continue to be able to happen. So I always get emotional.
No, that's awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a family member, I don't want to say who it was, but she gets emotional too when she hears the drum. It fills her soul.
Mhm.
And I mean, teary-eyed emotional.
Mhm.
So we dig what you're saying there, Gina. Gina, yesterday went by so fast, and one of the things I'd really like to talk to you about, maybe get in a little deeper dive, is how the Warrior Woman Project went for you, and maybe you can talk a little bit about the documentary again, and then maybe just about the what you did this weekend.
Yeah, it was a crazy weekend with all the weather, but the Women Warrior Project, I was so grateful to be a part of that experience, and Madonna Thunderhawk and her daughter Marcy are big heroes of mine. Just like how Winona is, before especially way before I met her, but even now, just being more involved. But it's so fascinating to see that they have gone through so much and they still continue the fight. They were in the thick and thin of it all, like they were in all of it, and Madonna herself was really like involved in pushing this movement forward, the American Indian movement forward, the whole movement that we need to be able to be us, with her growing up in a boarding school, and we all know how that is, of how my father went to boarding schools, and it's just they legit tore away your identity, tore you away from your parents, and that's how you learn how to love. That's how you learn how to be with people, is through your parents. That's your first experience of love, is through your parents. And to take children away from their loving parents and put them into a boarding school and say, you can't be you, and to punish them in awful ways, that is part of a genocide. And that's why, nowadays it's so hard for us to, even get involved into learning our culture. It's just, there's still that stigma around that, Indigenous people are bad, we're alcoholics, we're drug addicts, and we're really not. We're not.
Yeah, one of the things too, with Madonna Thunderhawk, not only being in all those things, starting survival schools. I mean, those things were, I don't want to say big in the 70s, but we had a couple here. We had the Little Red Schoolhouse and in St. Paul, and then we had, I can't think of the name. I'm sure someone up in Facebook will put it, but we had those two where we're teaching our young ones the way, because it wasn't being taught. And you talked about American Indian movement. I think one of the things with Madonna specifically was that she was at everything, and she was even at Wounded Knee, but she had to be low key. I remember her telling us she had to be low key because I don't know if she had a warrant on her for arrest, but so if people saw her there, they would come in and get her. I don't know, but the women were the doers. It just happened to be a couple decent looking Native guys, especially at Wounded Knee, that got all the publicity, but the women have always led the way. And as you know, you said Winona, I want to just say Winona LaDuke so people know who you're talking about, is part of leading that way. And that too. And we've witnessed that with people like Grandma Mary and all these warriors, Nancy Bolio, and yourself,
Yeah, and even great grandmother Mary Lyons was a really big help in getting me through, being actively involved in this movement the past year and a half, full time, and it's women like Madonna and Marcy and Winona LaDuke and great grandmother Mary Lyons who get me through this and inspire me to keep going, because it's tough. It's tough to live this every day, live these sorrows every day. And with the Line 3 battle, all the resistance camp were Indigenous women led. And I felt so safe in those camps, and I felt so welcomed, and there was accountability. And I absolutely loved how it was ran. Like, as soon as you went to the camps, there was a sign, no drugs, no alcohol, leave your ego at the door. And that too, just the way people respected them, and the way, all these Indigenous women just led is just with such respect towards people and caring. It's just like, what, why can't we do this everywhere? Just like when we had the first Camp Firelight, and how that all went down, just so nice. And the sense of community that happened, it's like, if it can happen here like this, it can happen anywhere. So it's just like, why can't we do it? But just give the country back to the Indigenous woman. We'll take care of everything.
I'm all about that. I'm definitely all about that. I was talking to somebody, our guest yesterday. We had a representative from Ho-Chunk Nation on, and she was down for the Madison land acknowledgement. And I said, well, they stopped asking me to do land acknowledgements because mine is just to give us our land back. That's my land acknowledgement. But yeah, so great. And Beth, you dealt with one of the producers, Beth Castle, who was on the show last week. Just an amazing filmmaker. She's a professor. And she has all these recordings, though. She talks about in the last 25, 30 years of all these indigenous people or women, I should say, that have been around forever, and is cataloging that for prosperity. And so this is just the beginning. If you have a chance to see Warrior Woman, please do.
Yeah, Beth has given us such a great gift to document that history. With Madonna Thunderhawk's history, it started out saying, she grew up in a place where you could just walk out your backyard and eat off the land and survive off the land. And then I can't remember what it was. I think it was either the government flooding their land on the reservation and they had to move. And then after that, it's just the government forced her people to rely on commodities, government commodities. Like, they weren't allowed to take care of themselves anymore. And that's what really started, I think, her activism, was seeing, the government take these people who were self-sufficient and force them not to be self-sufficient anymore. It's just a travesty that's happened throughout history, and it's still happening today. I mean, how many of us are working the full-time jobs and can't even afford rent, let alone the prices going up, and they don't even need to be growing up? Like with eggs, the bird flu, it's like you're making eggs expensive because of the bird flu. That just means poor people can't have eggs. That's basically what it means.
Well, I know it was really fun when we were doing Sunday symposiums, and we had Madonna Thunderhawk on and a couple of people that were with AIM, including Winona. And it was so funny to see them interact because, Madonna Thunderhawk is, I think she's 80 now or 81, still in really good shape. But like Winona and a couple other people were like really afraid of her. And they were reminiscing how they were afraid of her because, she was you had to be no nonsense back there when, and you have to be no nonsense in what you do too with Honor the Earth. But it was funny to see because we look up to Winona, and then, Winona looks up to Madonna.
Yeah, I was super excited to meet Madonna on Friday. And before that, I was at Winona's farm with a bunch of water protectors. And I was like, I get to go meet Madonna Thunderhawk. And this one water protector who was very active in Standing Rock said that when they first met Madonna Thunderhawk, they were at camp at Standing Rock and they heard Madonna's coming. So they went around and they were hollering, Madonna's coming, let's get ready. And people were like, oh, yay, Madonna Thunderhawk's coming. And the person stopped and they're like, what? It's not Madonna the singer? And I'm so grateful for that story because it just kind of humbled me a little bit,
That is a good story. And Wendy, you remember meeting them when they first came around with the documentary We Got Our Swag?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really inspiring to sit with them and talk with them, and that we
living
know them.
history.
Yeah, it is living history.
Living history.
Yeah, they keep me going. I mean, this work can get so hard sometimes, but to see all the accomplishments they made and what they've done, it's just like, you know what? I want to help as best as I can to make you successful and the movement successful. Like, thank you. So I appreciate Madonna Thunderhawk and her daughter Marcy and Beth Castle and, Winona LaDuke for hiring me and helping me out with this battle, And of course, I want to give a shout out to Tasha Martineau and Sasha Bolio and Don Goodwin and Nancy Bolio, the leaders of Line 3. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to do it either. And they're so strong, such strong women who can show us what community actually looks like. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for being warrior women.
They went up and talked to Tasha. They appreciated that because of what Tasha was going through, reminded them of what they went through back in the day because of their tribe not agreeing with what they were doing. So they really had a kinship with Tasha. I know they went up there, and it was amazing that they were, one of the things they said, and I know we only got a few seconds left here before we go to our sacred animal section, Gina, but one of the few things that Madonna said that really stuck with me too is that for a period of time they were wondering where the young people were. There was a dry period of time, maybe 15, 20 years ago, and now they know, and now they're excited that the young people are taking charge and coming up and joining in these fights that we have for sovereignty and to be who we are. So it's great to hear that and to talk into living history. And thank you for your experience with Warrior Women, the documentary, and also what you do. Thank you so much, Gina. We'll be right back after this short break with the sacred portion of the animal section here.
Stay with us.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Good one. Well, this is our Gina. Thank you. That was a good one. This is a part of our sacred animal section of the show, Wendy. Yeah. And we love talking about our winged and hooved and tailed and big-eared relatives.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. As everybody already knows, I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. And as always, Curtis, thank you very much. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. And it's always my pleasure to do that. And it looks like we have a caller on, Blake. Hey, Blake, how you doing?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for taking the call. Try to just share a couple quick stories here. Yeah, back when I was in college, the fall of '82, I'm dating myself, I know, but one of my TAs, it was for like a Native American philosophies class. He was, how did he describe himself? Kickapoo and Rosebud. And he had some connections, and he brought a bunch of us, well, a handful of us, up to, I think it's the Oneida Reservation in upstate New York. And we got to hear meet Dennis Banks and hear him talking about, this was before he turned himself in for the Wounded Knee stuff, but he showed us the warrant for his arrest from the FBI and all this kind of thing. And it's kind of cool because, I mean, there were like guards all around the place, not armed necessarily, but you just had a sense that they were going to protect this guy big time. So I thought it was really cool that we got to meet him like that. And that was back when Peter Matheson came out with that book, In the Spirit of Crazy Horse, which was kind of an interesting read. So yeah, hearing JoJo the other day kind of got me down memory lane on that. And also last week, Wendy, you were talking about raccoons.
Yeah.
And I had a pet raccoon back in the day.
Was his name Rocky?
No, it was Little Ann. From where the red fern grows. Little Ann and Big Dan were the coon hounds, but I named the actual raccoon. And what you're saying about, I never knew that about when they wet their hands, but she loved grapes, and she would dip them in water and just kind of play with them, kind of rub them back and forth, and then just kind of pop them in her mouth and jump them down. And it was just like the cutest little thing. And those hands were so incredibly soft. It was just really cool to kind of shake hands with her. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. Did you have her as a baby raccoon?
I can't remember how old she was, but they're kind of like dog puppies, a similar age. I think I got her like 8 weeks or 3 months, something like that.
Did you get her in the wild or purchase her, or how did you obtain this raccoon?
Yeah, I purchased her. There was a pet store in Hopkins that we went in from time to time. And
are you kidding?
Yeah.
In the 80s, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
They didn't have her that long because my dad made me let her go back out in the wild, because one day she was a climber. She's a raccoon, and she got up on the countertop where my mom had a cake cooling off. And she grabbed hold of that cake with all fours, and she was chomping on it with her mouth. And I picked her up by the scruff and tried to shake the cake loose. So that was like the last straw, I guess, for my dad. So
Wow.
Sad.
Thanks,
But
Blake.
she was really, really cool. And
Thanks for calling in and listening to us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
What a
really
fun little
appreciate
story.
it. Thank you very much.
Right. You guys take care.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they don't have raccoons in pet stores anymore, because
Or monkeys.
they should not be wild. They're wild animals. They shouldn't be kept as pets. And if people who didn't listen to what we were talking about, the raccoons, I always thought that they, always wash their food before they ate it, right? But I read that and I researched that that's not the reason why they wet their hands. Their hands become more sensitive, and the nerve endings become more sensitive when they're wet.
Wow.
So they're able to feel their food and feel what they're eating. And since they are nocturnal, if they do wet their food hands, they're able to determine what they're feeling and touching better.
Oh,
and
at night.
that's why they wet their hands.
Oh.
It's not to wash their hands or wash their food. It's to make their hands more sensitive so that they could feel the food and what they're touching.
And then the robber's mask was for the light, right?
Yeah, like a football player puts the black underneath their eyes so the light doesn't reflect into their eyes, and that's why they have a bandit mask.
I just used to do that to look tough, but I didn't. But yeah, so
Exactly.
And then the raccoons, that's cute.
Yeah. Well, I had a couple of different things I was going to talk about tonight, and since we are on a lighter kind of feel, I'll do the lighter feel of what I'm talking about.
Right,
So,
cool.
the weather's really bad lately. I mean, we haven't had any spring. We had one day where, I did go out and then that was it. It was like, okay, spring's over, back to winter. But I see a lot of people out there, raking their lawns and getting their mowers going and getting the blowers going and raking up the leaves, and I see the trucks of the gardeners going around getting ready to clean up.
Lawn services, yes.
But I wanted to talk about No Mow May.
Yeah.
No Mow May.
And we've done that for quite a few years, and I was happy because I didn't like cutting the grass anyways.
Exactly. So it was perfect for you, Robert. But No Mow May is a conservation initiative first popularized by an organization called Plant Life, which was based in the United Kingdom.
Huh.
Yeah, but it gained traction across North America, and the goal of No Mow May is to allow grass to grow unmowed for the month of May, creating habitat and forage for early season pollinators. And this is really important because bees hibernate and bugs hibernate, and they're all in the ground. And if you put pesticides down and you start mowing and raking and everything, you can kill all of those bugs.
Yep.
And then kill the plant life, like dandelions. People hate dandelions and they pull dandelions, but dandelions are the bees and other pollinators' first food that they have, that they can survive when they wake up in the spring.
Yeah.
They might have woken up on that one day when it was hot, and then they went back to hibernation. I don't know.
Isn't that funny how things have changed for us over 20 some years? Because I used to pick those, try and pick the dandelions out, and now it's like, let them flow.
Let them flow. Exactly.
Make some water.
Dandelions are medicine. I mean, you can make tea out of them, and it's so good for so many reasons. It's like we should allow dandelions to grow. They're medicine. We should be using it, not villainizing dandelions. Come on now.
No Mow May.
And here in Minnesota, there's 3 cities that participate in an ordinance or a resolution for No Mow May: Edina, New Brighton, and Monticello. So those 3 cities have a resolution saying, you could participate in No Mow May. So No Mow May is not the same here in Minnesota as it is in California. So we want to have 50-degree days consecutively for at least a week to 10 days. And that's when you can go and start mowing and raking and stuff.
Wow, another great show, Wendy.
Yeah.
Gina, thank you so much for sticking with us the whole show. Really helped us out and tell us the story, the news and the story about the Warrior Women's Project. I think, Wendy, if they go to warriorwomens.com, they can find out when the next showing is and how to see that. Thank you so much, Misko. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier.
Tune in for Philosophy Talk, the program that questions everything.